All right, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Getting to Know Craftsman. PJ here, and I'm with Isaac, and I get to turn the tables a little bit. I'm sure you enjoyed Chris harassing you in the last video a little bit, but...
I mean, it was actually not too bad. Not too bad.
No? Not too bad?
It was fine.
All right. Well, today we're going to be talking about your athletic prowess.
That's the right word for it.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Can't you tell?
If I had a nickel for every time somebody said that to me, maybe 2 nickels.
2? Yeah. One being just now.
That was the second nickel.
All right, so as Chris alluded to the last video, you do, honestly, all joking aside, have a legitimate, successful athletic background, right? Why don't you tell everyone kind of the history behind that? And, you know, obviously you weren't a linebacker or anything, but...
Yeah, no, it didn't involve like leaping, sprinting or anything like that, but... Yeah, growing up, I played a lot of sports like most kids, you know, football, basketball, t-ball, you know, that. But I pretty much focused in on running from the time I was 10 years old. So with that, you know, I think that's becoming more and more common these days where people kind of specialize. You kind of have to be very specific on certain sports at some point, maybe by middle school. So I basically started competing nationally and regionally from the age of 12. I think I did my first national event. I got 3rd place at 10 years old. And pretty much from the time I was 10 all the way through middle school and high school, I was ranked nationally, you know, pretty much all along the way.
And you traveled quite a bit, right?
Yeah, traveled a lot, and that becomes something that made my dad and I very close. He was very supportive of taking the time, you know. As a parent now, I respect what he did to, like, you know, fly places, drive places, you know, equipment, that kind of, which... With what I was doing on the track, wasn't a lot of equipment.
Not a lot, right?
But he got me the best. All right, there wasn't any fancy helmets or any of that kind of stuff.
We were reminiscing the other day about the cool spikes that we used to get.
Yeah. So look, recognition for what I was doing at this level in high school was mostly just like distance runner blogs. At the time, it was like the message boards.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, those of you that run, you know, letsrun.com, DieStat, you know, those were like the kind of where you found this type of information. So there was no glory involved, let's be clear. You know, it didn't,
we thought there was.
Yeah, it didn't help you find the, you know, it didn't make you the man. You weren't like prom king or anything because of it. But it was cool to, you know, sacrifice and be really good at something.
So going along with sacrificing, you weren't exactly the usual high schooler going out partying all the time, right?
I was the cool kid.
You were definitely the cool kid, right? Tell me a little bit about kind of that mindset.
Like a routine?
Sure.
So like during the school year, this is what every cool kid does at your high schools. You guys know what I'm talking about. You wake up 5 o'clock, you know, gather the daily paper, and you make your way to Dairy Queen by 6 o'clock. That's what everybody that's cool does.
Right.
You go to Dairy Queen, you sit there, you hang out. That you know, because you're such a regular, your food's already at your booth. You know, this is what happens. And so I had a very stringent routine. My senior year, I only missed 1 breakfast at Dairy Queen, and that means I read the paper every day. And I would, Kristen, who I'm now married to for 12 plus years, I wrote her a note on the back of the tray paper after I finished my biscuit and gravy. So very diligent. As far as athletics goes, you know, a lot of kids are partying, doing those kind of things. And pretty much the summers I would, you know, stay very disciplined and, you know, outworking people generally paid off. You have to be talented to be good nationally, but generally... hard work goes a long way, especially in, you know, high school level. Yeah,
definitely. Moving on to the college level, kind of talk to us a little bit about, you know, your freshman year and kind of where your college career started.
Yeah, so we covered in PJ's video about how the least athletic people run more laps and how amongst athletic people, even track athletes tend to be among the least athletic people. And then distance runners amongst that tier is even...
special breed.
Yeah. So, but what was cool is I was excited, you know, when I went to college because you could run further. I know that's very backwards for most people to think about.
Right?
But I knew the longer the race went, like basically my whole life, when you get to certain age groups and you would age up, they'd have longer races, and it made it easier for me to stay, kind of on top of the pile. Mm-hmm. So what I was excited about college was they almost doubled the distance that we could race in high school, and I was really looking forward to that.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, though, after my first race in college, I had like a really fluky kind of knee injury, and it would have been easier, I think, to appreciate if it had been an ACL or something like that, but it was just tendonitis, and it just never went away, never really allowed me to fully train it. It's basically my body saying, you've done really good up to this point, but what it takes to be at this level at this age requires a lot of mileage, and my body couldn't do it.
Mentally, how did that affect you during that time?
Oh, I handled it really well at 18 years old.
Is that sarcasm?
No, I didn't handle it well, and I basically had built my whole identity around that success or failure of those kind of things, dictating a lot about how I felt about myself. So it was a time period in my life where I had to kind of rediscover, an actual vocation decision, and what kind of major do I want to do, and that's how you switch majors 6 times.
Yep.
Now I did remain an athlete,
right,
and did stay part of the team culture and all that kind of stuff, but I never really couldn't get back to at least the same level at collegiately that it was in high school.
Yeah, and you transferred over to U of L, Louisville. That's where we met, actually.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about your time there and how different was that?
Well, I mean, I initially started at a small private school at Belmont. I picked that because of the close attention that they paid to you, and U of L is obviously a completely different animal. Mm-hmm. So it was a lot less tailored to the situation, but I will say the coaches were very knowledgeable, and I still have a lot of friends from that track and cross country team, and it was a good experience. I think eventually I just kind of settled into the fact that I knew I wasn't going to be elite anymore. I couldn't train and do that, so I was just kind of like, just enjoy being an athlete in college, and sometimes I enjoyed that more than I should have. But I really started to focus on friendships. That's thinking about what was going to be after running, because it was very obvious that was necessary. For me to work through.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I guess that's enough reminiscing about our glory days, right?
Oh yeah,
when we were athletic.
Yeah,
but thanks for sharing that with us, and until next time.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks for tuning in, everybody.
Thanks.
Yeah.